Hey guys, it's your boy Hamza B2K back at it again with another video. It's been what, 2-3 years, maybe even more than that now, since my last real YouTube video. But hey, I'm finally back from my two friends, not even fans, who've been waiting for me to get back into it. Obviously a lot has changed over the past few years. We had a pretty standard 2019 and then 2020 was just a lot for everyone. We were all hit with the same issues due to the virus, and of course there were also the eruption of different social justice movements, and there are still issues with the environment and its destruction, and unfortunately last year we saw the passing of so many heroes, and of course we can't really forget the drama of the US presidency and all of that nonsense. And I'm sure there's a lot of more stuff that I'm missing here, but let's just say 2020 sucked for a lot of people, and it definitely drained a lot of them of their liveliness, myself included. I lost probably the best part-time job I'll ever have. I had a great team, great managers, awesome coworkers, but unfortunately all of us had to get laid off because the store we worked at had to shut down, obviously due to the virus and the issues of the lockdowns, which was pretty depressing. I'm lucky though, I'm still in school in my third year at the University of Waterloo, studying from home, and I'm also blessed enough to have a co-op job as a researcher, and I'm doing fine. And in all of the chaos of the past few years, with everything going on, I kind of just let YouTube and everything else I always wanted to work on slide out of my grasp. For a long time now, I felt a lot of guilt about not having posted in so long, and it's been pretty soul-crushing, honestly, because I've been so swamped with school and work and life and responsibilities. I let myself let the things that I was so passionate about go by the wayside. In 2018, 2019, I'd written out a long list of YouTube videos that I wanted to do that year, and at the time, I didn't really get to do any, besides a few animations that I made for the first 2 YouTube boxing matches that happened, and besides that, I didn't really stick around. And then at a point last year, I kind of had a really bad emotional and existential episode where I felt really stuck, because even though I was progressing through life, I felt like I was just going through the motions and didn't really have a purpose behind what I was doing. Like, yeah, I wanted to go to law school or something, but I felt like I'd abandoned and forgotten a really big part of myself and all of that. And that was the part of me that was creative, the part that enjoys writing and telling fantastical stories and fantasy, and the one that wanted to make short films and YouTube videos and do artwork and sell art books and start my own businesses and just be something more. And at a point I realized that I just, as far as my mental health was concerned, was not genuinely happy. Or no, I was happy. My life by all means was good. I have it a lot better than many people do, and I'm grateful for that. I really truly am. But I just didn't feel any fulfillment at all with myself. It's definitely my own fault, and I don't have anyone else to blame. My choices to make excuses about not having enough time or being lazy or whatever was just me trying to justify to myself why I had let go of the things that I had let go of. And the further I got away from my passions, the more useless I felt. And so when I had my existential moment, I got up and took a really long hot shower and really thought to myself about what I wanted, and I realized that if I didn't change something about the way that I was living, I'd end up wasting my life away, always thinking and regretting about what could have been. I'm not even suggesting or talking about having some huge dreams about being a gazillionaire or being a big YouTuber or being a social influencer or whatever kind of nonsense. I just want to contribute in some greater way and to inspire someone someday. That's always been my goal. I've literally got a high school photo of myself, and on it, I wrote this quote that speaks a lot to the kind of person I want to become. It's pretty lame, and I'm pretty sure it's a little Tumblr-y, but it goes like this. I want to inspire people. I want someone to look at me and say, it's because of you I didn't give up. And I know that's cheesy, but the way that I was living and feeling, I knew that I wasn't that person yet, and I knew that I had to do something actively to change, or else I would never be. So for the first time in my life, I decided to give myself my first ever 2 New Year's resolutions for 2021. To read a book a week, which so far I've been doing. Mind you, just January has ended, so there's still 11 months to go, so let's see how that goes. And then the second one was to do at least 1 piece of artwork a week, which so far I've also been doing. These two outlets for me are mainly to keep me feeling creative again and to give myself a break from all of the monotony that I felt that I was so trapped in before in my day-to-day routine life. And then, of course, out of nowhere, I've decided that for the time being, doing YouTube this way, in almost a podcast style as I do the speed paintings for my artwork, might be kind of relaxing for listeners, or maybe even just cathartic for myself. But I'll at least get to keep posting content here that I actually enjoy, and eventually I want to work back up to my more ambitious YouTube video goals. Skits, short films, animations, that kind of thing. I've started up a new DeviantArt page. It's really exciting because I love the atmosphere there, and the culture and the community is very welcoming. So I hope to be a valuable part of it. And I was so hyped when I posted this Pokemon trainer version of myself. It was the first piece I did in 2021. And it got 8 favorites. And there are literally artists on there getting hundreds of thousands of favorites, but I got 8 on my very first day, and that was enough. I was super ecstatic, and I felt like, okay, there's definitely something here. I can definitely do something productive. I made a new Instagram as well, and I'll probably be posting on Reddit and places like Pinterest and stuff like that as well. Getting back into art is definitely intimidating for me. In fact, it was very, 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 very scary to get back into it. I am my worst critic, and I know it's the same for most artists, but I've learned very, very quickly that it's a good thing that I can see the problems in my art, and that all it means right now is that there's a discrepancy between my current skill and what I can actually achieve or what I can envision. And to close that gap, I just need to learn the skills that I need and to practice again and again until I get there. This piece that you're watching me go through is actually a repaint of the very first digital art I ever did in my life. Or the very first digital painting, I should say. I loosely based the original off of the artworks by Charlotte Karen, who's an artist who did some other really cool painting work. And the lion I chose for myself because it's my namesake, and also I genuinely feel that it's a symbolic representation of myself and my character. I did it 5 years ago, back in 2016, and you can see it here. It's fine, I guess. To be honest, I hate it. But objectively, I guess it's not that terrible. I know if I post this today, some people would still hype it and tell me, oh, great job, man. Maybe even purely just for the concept. But looking at it, the hair has no texture, and one of my old friends actually told me it looked like a helmet because of how reflective it was. I hated the eyes back then, and they looked so lifeless. The skin as well, it just looked so dull, and I'd overblended the colors here, and it just looked smooth and almost plastic-like. There's no detail work whatsoever, no attention to lighting or shadows. The lion is really trash, poorly colored. There's no definition in the mane or any of the fur on his face. Don't even get me started on the suit and the wrong way the fabric sits on my arm, or the random discoloration and the jaggedness of the edges. This new redone version, you'll see I've at least started to understand how textures work in hair. I've gotten the hang of painting smoother edges and understanding better how shadows fall. Art is honestly still so scary for me, and this piece was one of the more intimidating ones. In fact, I find myself almost procrastinating difficult or frustrating parts of the artwork, and you'll see that I actually jump around the painting. Like, I'll go from the face randomly to the hair, from randomly to the hands, and work on parts of the lion, and then jump around the lion, and then go back to my skin and stuff like that, just as a coping mechanism to make myself feel a little bit better about it, especially when I struggle with certain parts of the painting. Art is scary because when you start an art piece, you don't know what the final product will look like. You put down a sketch, and the sketch is okay, and then you put down the base color, and immediately the panic and fear sets in, and you start doubting yourself in this twisted, dark cloud of negativity, and you're telling yourself, oh my god, it looks terrible, it's going to be terrible. Meanwhile, you've only done the sketch and the base colors, no blending, no rendering, and it was enough to make me feel crushed. And this is especially true for the more ambitious artworks that I've done, already even this year. But I'd learned to just take a breath and push on and work slowly, layer after layer, and it would eventually come together. And as it comes together, there's this tsunami of relief and a flood of lightness that you feel, and it replaces the doubt that was just consuming you, and you feel this overwhelming sense of confidence and pride in your work and ability, and you just get in the zone all of a sudden and you push forward. I still have a long way to go forward in my art journey. Even now, I can of course see that I've got a long way to go to develop and further refine my art skills. The eyes still look a little bit off, but I've gotten better at drawing eyes. You can see it here. and I feel like I can do better rendering of the skin and hair, but these are just things that I'm going to have to go back to my old art books and practice pencil on paper. Just study the fundamentals again, teach myself how to do it better, and practice. I'm very much a control freak and a perfectionist to a fault, and I can always come back and try to add more and more to fix, quote unquote, my art and make it as good as I can. But the truth is, and for any artist who might feel the same way, it's just not healthy. It'll make you frustrated and it'll make you hate your art, and it comes back to understanding that gap between your skill and your ambition. It just means that you have to know when to step away and say, this is the best I can do for now, and I'm proud of it, and then get better over time. And when I put this new one side by side with the old one in the end, the difference is so stark, and I was shocked and speechless for a few minutes, but I was filled with relief and pride to know that I have grown, and I can grow more. Thank you everybody so much for watching the video, especially if you stuck around all the way to the end. You are a real one. I hope that you can make 2021 a better year than 2020 for yourself, whether that means through finding a new hobby or something. I really think that everyone should have one thing that helps them refresh their day and stay sane and get away from the monotony of life, whether that's knitting or playing sports or exercising or reading or writing, or I don't know what else there's out there, but I'm sure there's a lot. Find something for yourself and make it a good year. I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. Take care, everyone. Peace.